Prince James is killed in a duel with Behemoth after he promised Midas to slay a dragon in exchange for gold. King George summons Rumple for help.
How do I bring my son back to slay the dragon?
Bring him back? Oh no, that's out of the question. He's dead. Magic can do much, but know that.
But you just said...
Nothing about resurrection.
Then my kingdom is lost. I am alone.
Oh dear. Oh dearie, dearie, dear. Did I not tell you that I could have your son slay the dragon? And am I not a man of my word?
I thought you said he was gone forever.
Oh, that he is. But his brother...
His what?
His twin brother. Did I not mention there was another?
In exchange for the whereabouts of Cinderella's fairy godmother, he promises George a replacement for James. Rumple gets David to pretend to be James. He eventually manages to defeat the dragon. When David delivers the dragon's head to Midas, the king offers him Abigail's hand in marriage, which George forces David to accept. He returns to his farm one last time to say goodbye to his mother.
Give this to your wife to be.
I don't love her. I don't even know her. I can't take this.
Just because you don't know her doesn't mean you won't grow to love her. True love follows this ring wherever it goes, my son. I had it with your father. I've had it as your mother. Now you will have it. Take it.
No.
Take it. And I'll know. Even if I never see you again. I'll know you'll find love. I'll know you'll be happy.
David and Abigail then leave for King Midas's palace. Meanwhile, Marian is seen with Snow White and captured by Regina's knights. When she refuses to tell the Queen Snow White's whereabouts, Regina announces that she will be executed the next day.
She dies tomorrow. Hurry her along. The stench of peasant is overwhelming.
I feel sorry for you.
Do you?
If you had a family of your own, if you had love, you'd know you shouldn't do this. You wouldn't have to be so cruel.
Don't you tell me what I do or don't understand. I know who I am and what I want. And right now, it's your head on the spike.
You're a monster! You're a monster!
Meanwhile, Jafar and Amara find the second genie in the enchanted forest. Still looking for Snow, Regina terrorizes Granny's and Geppetto's village and shows them Marian, who is about to be executed for helping Snow White. Snow robs David and Abigail's carriage. David chases after her, but she manages to escape after hitting him in the face with a rock.
You're a girl.
Woman.
Oh. You can't hide from me! Wherever you are, I will find you!
David, on the other hand, manages to find Snow and traps her in a net.
I told you I'd find you. No matter what you do, I will always find you.
Is this the only way you can catch a woman? By entrapping her?
It's the only way to catch thieving scum.
Aren't you a real Prince Charming?
I have a name, you know.
Don't care. Charming suits you.
He asks her to reclaim his ring from the trolls she sold it to. On their journey to the troll bridge, David takes Snow's dark fairy dust. When they reach a river, Snow pushes David in and escapes, only to be captured by Black Knights.
Queen wants your heart. And we're not going to disappoint her.
David rescues her.
You saved me.
Seemed like the honorable thing to do.
They eventually reach the troll bridge. The trolls, however, try to kill them. Snow manages to escape, but David isn't so lucky. Snow then decides to save the prince using her dark fairy dust.
You saved me.
It's the honorable thing to do.
After their adventure on the Troll Bridge, Snow and David separate, despite clearly having feelings for one another.
If you need anything,
You'll find me.
always.
I almost believe that.
Well, goodbye, Snow White.
Goodbye, Prince Charming.
I told you, it's James.
Nah. Still like Charming better.
That evening there is a ball at King Midas's castle celebrating Abigail and David's engagement. Regina is among the guests. The next morning Marion is executed. After Marion's death, Robin struggles with fear. Friar Tuck tells him about the night route, but Robin decides to stay away from more magic, because it always comes with a price. After successfully locating the final genie in Agrabah, Jafar and Amara celebrate. Unwilling to share the power they are about to receive, he transforms Amara into a serpent staff. He then goes to see Farzin Shamed, a man currently in possession of Cyrus's bottle. Before Jafar can get to the lamp, Farzin however uses his last wish to send Cyrus to Wonderland. Jafar angrily kills him. He then pays his father, the Sultan of Lower Agrabah, a visit, who still refuses to acknowledge Jafar as his son. The sorcerer then kills his only legitimate heir, Mirza, and takes his father prisoner.
You killed my son! I am your son. He wouldn't even fight for you. But I would have died for you, Father. But you could not say the words. What words? What words do you want? Call me your son. You are a bastard boy. Just say the words, and I will spare you unending pain. I will never give you what you want. You will. Someday.
The following winter is especially harsh on the Enchanted Forest. Regina tasks the huntsman to collect silver from the village controlling the royal silver mines, and since the entrance to the mines is frozen, he is forced to forcefully take all the spare silver the villagers still had. He is then ordered to melt down the captured goods and to make arrowheads out of the silver. Armed with those, the queen and the huntsman seek out his prior werewolf pack, which is now led by Adair, after Red accidentally killed her mother. Regina promises Adair control over the silver mines if he finds Snow for her. On their journey to the silver mines, the group is attacked by Red in wolf form. She manages to get a hold of the huntsman's heart and escapes. He runs after her. After he tells her his story, Red returns his heart to him. In the meantime, the wolves massacre everyone in the village controlling the silver mines. After her adventure with David, Snow is still hiding from the queen in King Midas's realm. She overhears some peasants talking about the royal wedding. When a terrified villager barges into the tavern, reporting what happened in the village by the silver mines, Snow reveals herself and announces that she wants to face the queen in the woods. On her journey she meets Red and the huntsman, who suggest venturing to Lake Onondaga instead to find a magical totem that could help them defeat the wolves and the queen. However, when they arrive at the lake, they are attacked by Regina and the wolves. Red and Snow fall through the ice. The huntsman jumps after them and transforms the three of them into mermaid-like creatures using the totem. Meanwhile, Regina refuses to heal Adeline, a fellow wolf that got hurt during the fight, and threatens to kill Adair. Snow, Red, and the huntsman confront Adair, but he ends up betraying them. Regina kills Adair. Red and Snow escape. The huntsman sacrifices himself for the wolf pack and returns his heart to Regina. Red and Snow return to their cottage to hide in. Deep in the dwarf mines, a new batch of eggs is about to hatch. Dreamy hatches prematurely, because a clumsy fairy, named Nova, accidentally sprinkled fairy dust on his egg. Soon after, his 7 brothers also hatch. They get washed, clothed, and get their names via magical pickaxes. Dreamy, Happy, Doc, Sneezy, Sleepy, Bashful, Dopey and Stealthy. Meanwhile, in the dark castle, Belle accidentally interrupts Rumple's remembrance ceremony for balefire. This contradicts Skin Deep, which stated that she only learns about Rumple's son the day she is released by Rumple. The way memories are treated on the show, it is not impossible that she just forgot about this interaction or that Rumple made her forget.
Something happened to my memories.
Wow, an all too common affliction round these parts. Pity.
But it is probably just a plot hole.
A plot hole, for sure.
Meanwhile, Jafar managed to become royal vizier to the Sultan of the capital of Agrabah by magically controlling the Sultan's mind with his staff. He rules the streets with an iron hand and turns thieves into rats as punishment for their crimes. Seeing through Jafar's evil plans, Princess Jasmine hires Aladdin to help her find a weapon to defeat him, the diamond in the rough. They venture to the Cave of Wonders, where Aladdin is revealed to be a savior. Aladdin doesn't believe he can be a hero. Jasmine gives him the royal scarab of Agrabah and returns to the palace. Once Aladdin is alone, Jafar appears in the Cave of Wonders. Using an oracle's bird, he gives him a vision of his death should he remain a savior. He also gives him the shears of destiny to alter his fate. It is unknown when the shears left the fairy's possession and ended up with Jafar. The sorcerer then returns to the palace and traps Jasmine in a giant hourglass. Aladdin eventually decides to be Agrabah's savior. He rescues the princess and defeats Jafar, breaking his staff and therefore breaking his spell on the Sultan. Back in his hideout, Jafar repairs his staff. Aladdin leaves the capital to find and permanently vanquish Jafar, leaving Jasmine behind. As a reward for protecting the southern provinces from Jafar, he is given an honorary title and becomes Prince Aladdin. After her allegiance with the wolves failed, Regina starts sending children into the blind witch's house to steal back her apple. They all fail and get eaten. In his castle, Rumple tells Belle about his son.
Again?
Gaston finally shows up, wanting to rescue Belle.
What took you so long, dearie?
It is unclear what took him so long. Either way, Rumple kills him by turning him into a rose and giving it to Belle. He then tells her to fetch straw, and if she comes back, he will tell her about Bay.
You trust me to come back?
Oh, no. I expect I'll never see you again.
This time she is allowed to leave the castle grounds without the enchantment on her cloak's fastener. On the road, Belle runs into the evil queen, who tells her about the power of true love's kiss.
True love's kiss will break any curse.
When she returns to the Dark One, she kisses Rumple, but he rejects her.
I knew this was a trick. I knew you could never care for me. Oh, yeah. You're working for her. Or is this all you? Is this you being the hero and killing the beast?
This word...
Shut up!
This means it's true love!
Shut the hell up!
Why won't you believe me?
Because no one can ever love me!
He smashes everything except the chipped cup and banishes her from the castle.
You could have had happiness if you just believed that someone could want you. But you couldn't take the chance.
That's a lie.
You're a coward, Rumplestiltskin. And no matter how thick you make your skin, that doesn't change.
I'm not a coward, dearie. It's quite simple, really. My power means more to me than you.
No. No, it doesn't. You just don't think I can love you. Now you've made your choice. And you're going to regret it. Forever. And all you'll have is an empty heart and a chipped cup.
Soon, Belle meets Robin again and learns that he used the 6-leaf clover to disguise himself when they first met. At some point the blue fairy also manages to get her hands back on the black fairy's wand and returns it to the sacred fairy vault. In the mines, Dreamy rescues Nova's bag of fairy dust from being accidentally burned. She invites him to see the fireflies. That night, Dreamy meets Belle in a tavern, who tells him about love and explains Nova invited him because she has feelings for him.
Love is hope. It fuels our dreams. And if you're in it, you need to enjoy it. Because love doesn't always last forever.
Dreamy and Nova meet on Firefly Hill and share a kiss. They plan to see the world together. The next day Dreamy meets Belle at the tavern again. He thanks her for her advice and convinces her to join the ouat hunt. He also gives her some fairy dust. Dreamy sneaks out to see Nova but is stopped by Blue and Bossy, who convince him to end his relationship with the fairy, which he ultimately does.
I can't stand in the way of your happiness.
You're my happiness. I love you. Don't you love me?
I'm a dwarf. I can't love.
Broken-hearted, Dreamy then breaks his pickaxe and his new pickaxe gives him the name Grumpy. Because none of the men in the hunting party take her seriously, Belle actively misleads them and goes after the ouat alone. She finds the creature's cave and meets Mulan. The next morning, Mulan saves Belle from the angry hunting party and they track the creature together. Belle confronts the ouat alone because Mulan is hurt. She eventually manages to turn the creature back into Prince Philip. Belle introduces him to Mulan. The two of them team up looking for Aurora. It is unclear why it takes them so long to find her, considering that she is literally asleep in her own palace.
What took you so long, dearie?
Belle on the other hand wants to return to Rumple. However, she is captured by Regina and Claude, one of the members of the hunting party.
I'm coming back, Rumple.
Isn't that sweet? Still fighting for true love, even to the bitter end.
How did you find me?
You really should be nicer to your traveling companions.
Right, Claude?
Take her to the tower.
What? No! What are you doing? I can save him. Just let me go to him. I can break his curse.
You already tried and failed. That monster's beyond saving. I'm sparing you a lifetime of pain and misery.
You can't keep us apart forever. I'll fight for him. I'll never stop fighting for him.
Claude stays at the Queen's court and becomes one of her Black Knights. Snow finally has enough money to buy passage on a ship. She pays Blackbeard to take her to Prince Eric's realm. Regina rips out the hearts of everyone in the northern or southern village, when the villagers refuse to tell her where Snow White is.
Didn't you once rip out the heart of every villager in the North Woods? Or was it the South?
This is likely how she found out about Snow's whereabouts. She immediately sends her knights after her, who manage to trap the bandit on a cliff.
You're a long way from home, Snow White. Did you really think you could hide from the Queen here?
Actually, yes.
Before they can capture her, however, Snow jumps off the cliff into the ocean. She is rescued by a mermaid named Ariel, who tells her about how she rescued and fell in love with Prince Eric, the upcoming ball honoring the sea goddess Ursula and a mermaid's ability to walk on land every year at the highest tide until the next high tide. Snow takes Ariel to meet Eric again at the ball. He asks her to join them traveling to Agrabah. Regina watches them through her mirror.
Next time you let someone fall to their death, make sure they're actually dead.
She looked dead.
No. Death looks more like this.
Snow tells Ariel to tell Eric the truth about her being a mermaid. She goes off to think about it. In the meantime, Regina visits Rumple to discuss a deal concerning Ariel.
I have a deal to discuss. A certain mermaid.
He refuses, still sad about Belle's leaving. Regina then tells him Belle died. Impersonating Ursula, Regina gives Ariel a magic bracelet. The bracelet turns Snow into a mermaid so Ariel can keep her legs.
Well, well, well. Look at the catch of the day.
Regina tries to kill her, but Ariel stops her by stabbing her with a fork and helps Snow escape. Ariel brings Snow to a nearby beach. The princess tells her to go find Eric and join him on his travels before it's too late, but as she calls out for him, her voice is gone.
Oh, that, your voice. I took it. The only thing worse about telling your prince how you feel and rejecting you is never telling him at all. Never knowing. Never even having a chance at true love. That's right, dear. He's gone. Time to swim back home, Little Mermaid.
Back at her castle, Regina is confronted by the real goddess Ursula for impersonating her.
You're real?
Next time you claim to be me, you'll find out just how real I am. Don't ever do that again.
Through unknown means, Ariel eventually acquires a necklace that can give her back her voice and legs. She goes looking for Eric. Meanwhile, Snow flees to King George's realm. She eventually reunites with Red and they find another cabin for her to live in, with Red bringing her supplies once a month. One day, while Snow is out hunting, Red returns to her with some food. She tells her that the royal wedding is still happening and recommends Rumpelstiltskin as he could help her with her broken heart. In exchange for one of her hairs, he gives her a potion that could make her forget about David.
Love makes us sick, haunts our dreams, destroys our days. Love has killed more than any disease.
King George confronts David about Snow and tells him to forget her.
Do whatever it takes to get that woman out of your head. Because nothing is going to stop this wedding.
David then sends a letter to her asking her to meet him at the castle. A woodcutter is captured by the evil queen and his children Hansel and Gretel run into her in the woods.
What are you doing in my forest?
She promises to find their father if they procure a leather satchel from the blind witch's gingerbread house. She warns them, however, not to eat anything while inside. David's letter arrives just in time to stop Snow from drinking Rumple's potion. Meanwhile, Rumple promises Regina the dark curse so she can finally get her revenge. It is possible that he demands one of her tears in exchange for the curse. Then again, Rumple also could have acquired one of Regina's tears at any other point in time.
Why do you have one of Regina's tears?
Because I do.
Either way, he promises to bring the curse to her in a few days' time. Nevertheless, Regina is not really interested in casting the dark curse at first due to its required sacrifice. Tired of seeing all the children fail to get her back the apple, Regina also pays Maleficent, the original creator of the sleeping curse, a visit.
That spell came from Maleficent. I finally learned how to make one of my own.
Maleficent teaches Regina how to create a sleeping curse herself. In exchange for that, Regina offers Maleficent the dark curse she is about to receive from Rumple. During this, the queen also meets Cruella and Ursula.
The sea bitch.
I've missed you too.
They offer her a spot with the Queens of Darkness to find their happy endings, but she declines, thinking defeating Snow will be hers. Meanwhile, Hansel and Gretel manage to steal the apple, but Hansel can't resist trying one of the witch's cupcakes, awakening the witch.
I smell dinner.
She locks the children in a cage and prepares to cook them.
Gravy or butter? How shall I baste you? Butter it is. Time to cook.
However, they manage to defeat her and lock her in her oven. Regina eventually kills her using a fireball.
I would have gone gravy.
Snow tries to sneak into George's castle, but she is captured. In the dungeon, she meets Grumpy.
There's someone out there for me. Someone I love very much, and I will not lose him.
Love, huh? Good luck with that.
What do you know about it?
That's why I'm stuck in this hole.
Oh.
I had it bad. She was beautiful as a fairy, but I lost her. I was desperate to get her back. So I came up with a plan. I worked at the diamond mines, traded all my wages to the foreman for a diamond to propose. But I got swindled. It was a stolen rock, and I took the blame. I'm no thief.
Stealthy shows up and frees both of them. Unfortunately, he is then killed by guards. Snow sacrifices herself for Grumpy, and the king forces her to break up with David.
You are going to walk down that hallway, Snow White. You're going to sneak in and tell him you received his letter. You're going to tell him why you're here. Because you don't love him. It'll break his heart. And that will cure him.
Or you'll kill me.
Oh, no. I'll kill him. Killing you would just make him love you more, and the marriage and the kingdom would ultimately crumble. But if he were to die at an assassin's hand, he would die a martyr. Midas would forgive, even laud the death, and the merger would be complete.
You would do that to your own son.
He is not my son.
Hansel and Gretel deliver the apple to the evil queen, but when they refuse to live with her instead of with their father, Regina banishes them to the infinite forest. In the meantime, Snow joins the dwarves.
It will get better.
Yes. Yes, it will. This will take all of my feelings, all of my pain, and destroy them.
No.
Why? You of all people should understand. You've lost love. What if your pain could be erased?
I don't want my pain erased. As wretched as it is, I need my pain. It makes me who I am. It makes me grumpy.
Now she's cavorting with dwarves? When did that happen?
Regina releases the woodcutter.
I offered your children everything, whatever their hearts desired, and they still chose uncertainty because of their blind faith in you. Tell me why. Why did your children refuse me?
Because we're a family. And family always finds one another.
Hansel and Gretel try to find him, using his compass. At some point, Facilier and Regina start a relationship. Meanwhile, David runs away from his wedding obligations and George and his army hunt after him. He is eventually caught by Abigail, who explains she doesn't want the wedding either. Abigail gives David provisions and takes him to a golden Frederick.
This is where my beloved Frederick sacrificed his life.
I'm sorry. Did he die in battle?
We were traveling with my father, King Midas, when our caravan was ambushed. Frederick bravely defended us and was cut down, saving my father's life.
It's a fitting tribute. Craftsmanship it's remarkable. Never seen anything quite so lifelike.
That's because the arm you're touching is actually Frederick's.
Excuse me?
It's not a statue. Frederick saw the attack when no one else did and threw himself in front of my father, knocking him to safety. Because of my father's curse, he was instantly turned to gold.
All curses can be broken. Have you tried true love's kiss?
Until my lips bled.
The gold got in the way.
She also tells him about Lake Nostos and its ability to bring back something that was lost. David wants to help Abigail reunite with her fiancé and confronts the lake's guardian. He is eventually able to kill the siren and bring some of the lake water back to Abigail. Frederick is brought back and David goes to find Snow, not giving up on their love.
True love isn't easy, but it must be fought for. Because once you find it, it can never be replaced.
On his search for Snow, he meets Red. They are attacked by George and his men. By now it has become public knowledge that the prince has called off the wedding, but it is too late. Snow already drank the potion. Red turns into a wolf to fight off George's men and helps him escape. Meanwhile, the Dwarves and Jiminy Cricket hold an intervention for Snow, who has become mean and irritating after drinking Rumple's potion.
That potion was the solution, not the problem. The problem is that I'm living here in a house full of dwarves instead of in my palace with my father as a princess. But I can't do that anymore, can I? Because he was murdered by the same woman who sent a huntsman to kill me.
Snow, your anger towards the queen is understandable. It's just not fair to take it out on your friends.
You're right. I should be taking it out on her.
Snow then decides to assassinate the queen. In order to do so, she assaults and robs a knight. Grumpy stops her and takes her to Rumpelstiltskin. Still looking for Snow, David finds the naked knight in the forest, who tells him that Snow plans on killing the queen. Instead of lifting the spell, Rumple gives Snow Robin Hood's enchanted bow and a map, depicting the way the queen is taking towards the summer palace.
So what do I have to do in return?
Do? You don't have to do anything, dearie.
Everything comes with a price with you. Last time you took a strand of my hair, what's in it for you this time?
Let's just say I'm invested in your future.
David also pays Rumple a visit, who tells him everything about Snow's plan in exchange for his cloak.
My cloak? Why would you want my cloak?
It's drafty in here.
He also gives David a warning.
You better be quick. Because if she kills the queen, she becomes as evil as the woman whose life she takes.
She could never become that evil.
Evil isn't born, dearie. It's made. If Snow starts down that road, you'll never get her back.
With Rumple's map, David is able to find Snow quickly. He tries to break the spell with True Love's kiss, but it doesn't work because Snow doesn't remember who he is, nor does she believe in true love at this point. She knocks him out and ties him to a tree. Jiminy shows up and helps the prince escape. David prevents the assassination by jumping in front of the arrow.
I would rather die than let you fill your heart with darkness.
You would really die for me?
Does it look like I'm making this up?
No one's ever done anything like this for me before. No one's ever been willing to die for me.
No one you can remember.
His sacrifice makes Snow believe in love again. Snow and David share True Love's kiss and the spell is broken. David then gets captured by George's men.
Snow!
James!
Snow!
I will find you! I will always find you.
Snow returns to the Dwarves and together they plan to storm George's castle and to rescue the prince.
Let's show that king what Snow White and 7 dwarves can really do.
In the meantime, Rumple finds one of David's hairs on the cloak's fur collar. By combining it with Snow's hair, he manages to create bottled True Love. Rumple puts a drop of True Love on the dark curse and gives it to Regina, who gives it to Maleficent as she already has a weapon to defeat Snow. George is about to execute David, but the evil queen stops the execution and takes David to her own castle, so she can use him to lure Snow White to her. Granny and Red join Snow and the dwarves and prepare to storm George's castle. Regina visits David in his cell. She unsuccessfully tries to seduce him and shows him the poisoned apple. With the help of an army of fairies, Snow and her friends storm the castle, only to have her find out that David is in Regina's dungeon.
I just had to stop you. I have no interest in cleaning tongue marks off my mirror.
Let him go. Your fight is with me.
My thoughts exactly. Have you ever heard of a parlay? We break off all this messy fighting and have a little talk. Just you and me. Come unarmed.
Where do I meet you?
Where it all began.
The Queen tells Snow to meet her alone and unarmed at the stables of her old estate, and Snow agrees, wanting to finally end their conflict and to stop more innocent bloodshed. Regina finally tells Snow what really happened to Daniel and why she hates her so much.
Is that a grave? Daniel's grave.
Daniel.
I thought he ran away. I told you that to spare your feelings out of kindness. But he died because of you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too. But nothing can change what happened. What you did. You promised to keep my secret. You promised, but you lied.
I was very young and your mother...
She ripped his heart out. Because of you. Because you couldn't listen to me.
You took my father. Haven't we both suffered enough?
No.
She then tells her to eat the poisoned apple, otherwise David would be killed.
Congratulations. You've won.
Snow goes under a sleeping curse. At the same time, David feels an excruciating pain in his heart. Red, Granny and the dwarves find Snow and think she's dead. Regina watches them and David through her mirror, relishing in the suffering she caused.
It would appear sacrifice is overrated. Speaking of...
No! What have you done to her? What have you done?
Driven by her victory, Regina returns Fasolier's necklace, not needing its power for revenge anymore.
I don't need you.
Disappointed, he leaves the enchanted forest. To fully celebrate her victory, the evil queen decides to execute David as well. However, the huntsman helps him escape. Once the queen learns of this, she uses her magic mirror to trap him in the infinite forest. In there he meets Rumple, who offers him magic to leave the forest and find Snow, if he helps him by hiding the true love potion in a safe place.
This ring is now enchanted. The closer you get to Snow White, the brighter it will glow. Interested?
Give it to me.
It's not something for nothing, dearie. Time to make a deal.
He then takes the prince to the Forbidden Fortress.
Where is the beast that reigns over this castle?
That would be me. But Beast is so harsh. I prefer Maleficent.
David fights Maleficent in her dragon form and manages to hide the potion in her belly before he escapes. Rumple then gives David a magical makeover, a horse, and his mother's ring, now enchanted to glow brighter the closer he gets to his true love.
Now you're ready for your big moment.
Why do you want us together? What do you get out of it?
I'm a fan of true love, dearie. And more importantly, what it creates.
With the help of the ring, David quickly finds Snow lying in a glass coffin with the dwarves mourning the princess. David kisses her, immediately breaking the sleeping curse.
You found me.
Did you ever doubt I would?
He then proposes to Snow and they plan to take back the kingdom.
Let's take back the kingdom. We'll see about that.
Regina quickly learns via her magic mirror that her curse was broken. She pays Snow, David, and the dwarves a visit as they unsuccessfully try to build an army to take down the evil queen and threatens to kill one of Snow's subjects every single day, if she doesn't give up her claim to the throne.
Stop denying who you are, Snow White. You may have been a princess, but you will never be a queen.
Snow wants to go into exile to keep everyone safe. The dwarves support her decision. David, however, seeks out Rumple again and asks for some magic to help Snow believe in herself again, but the Dark One refuses to help. David then tells Snow about Excalibur and that only a kingdom's true ruler possesses the strength to pull it from its stone. When Snow manages to pull a fake Excalibur from the stone, her confidence is restored. She is able to cut Regina's cheek with the blade and is now ready to face her on the battlefield.
This is my kingdom, and I will fight for it.
Then I'll see you on the battlefield.
We'll be ready.
But when she learns from Rumple that her Excalibur is fake, she angrily confronts her fiancé about his lie. David tells her that she had all it takes to defeat Regina inside of her all along. As a victim of the sleeping curse, Snow suffers from terrible nightmares of the sleeping curse's netherworld. David comforts her and lights candles for her to help her sleep.
Charming, my husband. He used to wake me. When I cried out, he'd light a candle. He said it would capture the nightmares. He'd watch over me as I fell back to sleep.
Meanwhile, Regina creates a replica of Fasilier's necklace, regretting giving it away. In a different realm, the voodoo doctor is trapped in the shadow realm through unknown means.
You see, I've been in a kind of prison, trapped with one foot in this world and one in a less pleasant place.
This also stops him from aging. Rapunzel goes to find the mystical night root, but after she consumes it, she gets captured in a tower by her manifested fear. Looking for proof of its existence, Alice returns to Wonderland. She acquires a bottle of Dreamy potion and tries to steal a weeping willow from the Queen of Hearts' garden, which results in her being chased by the Queen's guards, in particular Will Scarlet, the Queen's knave, ordered by Cora to kill Alice. Alice, however, manages to trap him and wants to steal his heart back from the Queen.
Why would you take a risk like that just to help me?
Everybody deserves a second chance.
She sneaks into Cora's heart vault and manages to get her hands on the heart. However, she does not return it at first, as she wants Will's help in finding proof for her father.
Help me show my father I'm not crazy. Help me find proof, so he can see that Wonderland is real.
That's what you want?
More than anything.
Right then, let's go and get you your proof.
But when Will tells Alice about Penelope's death, she decides to return his heart anyway.
You should do this alone.
Alice, you've forgotten already? The best thieves never work alone.
Will is still willing to help her in her mission. The both of them kidnap the White Rabbit. Cora's soldiers are still after Alice. Will stays behind for Alice to escape. She quickly grabs a piece of mushroom from the caterpillar, shrinks herself and stumbles upon Cyrus's bottle in the hedge maze. The genie grants her 3 wishes. She then decides to release the White Rabbit.
When you really love someone, you don't need proof. You can feel it.
After Alice's successful heart theft, Cora replaces the locks on her vault door. Meanwhile, Will takes in Lizard and they start working for the caterpillar as collectors. Alice and Cyrus start to bond. He tells her about Jafar being after him and his life as a genie and teaches her to sword fight and how to defeat a Bandersnatch. The two of them fall in love. They plan to bury Cyrus's bottle and Alice promises never to use her wishes. The White Rabbit watches them burying it. On a quiet evening together, Alice and Cyrus are suddenly attacked by genie hunters. They manage to fight them off, but Alice is stabbed. The White Rabbit's wife is able to heal her, but her husband Percy tells Cyrus that Alice needs a safe home and that a life on the run can't give that to her.
I've known Alice since she was a little girl. She always wanted a place to call home.
I'm her home now, as she is mine.
Cyrus then trades the lost and found for a hideout hidden by the caterpillar's magic somewhere in the Outlands, where he takes Alice.
Now we can go on any adventure we desire, and we always have this. A place we can return to.
Always having a place to come back home to, Alice and Cyrus travel the realms, fighting pirates and swimming with mermaids. Meanwhile, Cora finds herself a new knave of hearts. Will, on the other hand, is in a brief relationship with a fairy named Silvermist. By leaving her without even saying goodbye, he breaks her heart. In the enchanted forest, the war between Regina and Snow rages on. On February 1st, Regina's birthday, the queen kills a villager named Blacktooth, when he dares to demand something in return for giving up Snow's location. She is surrounded by Snow, David, and the dwarves and angrily teleports home. Back at the castle, Henry is worried about the grip Cora still has on Regina.
I know you love Daniel. But if anyone is to blame, it's your mother. She ripped out his heart so you would become the merciless queen that she always wanted. Don't let her win. Don't let her control you.
Mother does not control me. I banished her to Wonderland, remember?
Until you give up this quest for vengeance, Cora will always have a hold on you.
He asks the mirror to summon Cora, unaware that this would also give her an opportunity to use the mirror as a portal. Henry tries ending the conflict by meeting with Snow, but Cora beats him to it and rips out Snow's heart.
The only way to truly achieve peace is through war.
Later that evening, Cora gives Regina the heart and she crushes it only to realize that Henry switched the hearts and gave Snow her heart back. She shrinks her father as punishment so he doesn't interfere with her plans anymore and then permanently banishes Cora to Wonderland. The Queen of Hearts, however, manages to take Henry with her. Jefferson is playing hide and seek with his daughter Grace in the woods when Regina arrives at their cottage. She wants to hire him to take her to Wonderland, but he refuses.
Do this one last favor for me, and you can give her the life she deserves.
That's why I'm staying. You don't abandon family. That's what she deserves.
In the market, Grace sees an expensive toy rabbit. Jefferson wants to buy it for his daughter with his last money, but the old merchant, who is actually Regina in disguise, refuses to take less than she originally asked for.
Well, that was awfully cruel. You could have at least let the girl have a toy.
Where's the fun in that?
Jefferson tries to make Grace a rabbit toy from scraps. He then decides to accompany Regina to Wonderland to ensure a better life for his daughter. He sends her to the neighbors and heads to the castle. Using the hat, both of them get to Wonderland. Regina gets her tiny father from her mother's vault, uses a piece of a Wonderland mushroom to make him grow back to normal size, and knowing that the hat portal could only bring back 2 people, she abandons Jefferson in Wonderland, taking her father home.
You were right, Jefferson. You don't abandon family.
Jefferson is taken to the Queen of Hearts, who has him decapitated but not killed and tasks him to create another portal hat. The Hatter goes mad, unsuccessfully trying to get it to work. Receiving news that Snow White is hiding in a hut within a village, Regina drops by, relishing the idea of finally ripping out her stepdaughter's heart, but she only finds a decoy dummy in place of Snow, whose location she suspects the villagers know. She attempts to make them forfeit their loyalty to Snow, insisting that the princess doesn't care or love them, but she does. Tinker Bell refutes these claims by recalling how Regina threw away her second chance at love, and tries to make her see that it's still not too late to find the man with the lion tattoo if she is open to the possibility of happiness. Regina declines, stating she is happy the way she is now, though Tinker Bell boldly points out that her reluctance is because she doesn't believe herself deserving of love. Back at the castle, Henry tells Regina about a magical object that could help her. He takes her to Cupid's arrow, which has the power to lead someone to their soulmate. The evil queen, however, curses the arrow, so it would lead her to the person she hated most. The arrow leads Regina back to her castle and lets her gaze upon her own reflection. Realizing she hates herself most, she smashes the mirror. Tinker Bell eventually goes to Neverland, where she befriends Balefire.
Been a long time, Tink.
Bye.
On the island, Tinker Bell also encounters Hook, who tells her that there's only two things he would risk his life for: love and revenge. Some of the dialogue in this flashback is rather misleading. Hook says to Smee,
"Now that I know there's a dagger can end the Dark One, we must return to our land,"
indicating that he just found out about the dagger. However, this scene takes place many decades after Hook met Balefire in Neverland and learned about the dagger in the Season 2 finale.
The plot hole, for sure.
Meanwhile, in Dorothy's home world, Aunt Em gives her niece a puppy named Toto as a gift. She dies shortly after. Dorothy then receives a message from the Munchkins that Zelena is still alive and terrorizing Oz. She uses the silver slippers to return to Oz and stops Zelena from ripping out the Scarecrow's brain for her time travel spell. Both of them escape from the witch. Angrily, Zelena confronts the Munchkins where she meets Hades, offering his help as he is also interested in the time travel spell.
Is the devil flirting with me?
I'm not the devil.
They find Dorothy's bicycle, Zelena casts a locator spell on it, and they manage to find Dorothy and the Scarecrow. Zelena rips out the Scarecrow's brain. When she returns to the Emerald City, Hades confesses his feelings to Zelena and asks her to kiss him to make his heart beat again after it was stopped by Zeus centuries ago, but the witch refuses, fearing Hades only wants to steal her time travel spell for himself. Disappointed, the Lord of the Underworld then returns to his domain. When the witches of the North and East team up with Dorothy and try to overthrow Zelena, she banishes them from Oz, just like she did with Glinda. Soon after, the Wicked Witch of the North takes over parts of Oz. Alternatively, it is also possible that the original Witch of the North turned evil for some reason and was banished by Zelena at a later point in time. Either way, she curses Stanham after he chopped down one of her trees, making him slowly turn to tin if he can't find a new heart. He turns to Zelena for help, who reluctantly agrees. They venture into the forest to find the Crimson Heart. A cowardly lion attacks them, but Zelena chases him away with magic.
And here I thought lions were supposed to be brave. Coward.
They eventually find the Crimson Heart, but when Zelena learns that using the heart would drain her magic, she refuses to give up her magic to save her friend. Stanham fully turns to tin and Zelena returns to the loneliness of Emerald City. Soon after, the Wicked Witch of the North is also banished from Oz. Meanwhile, Jafar terrorizes another Agrabah kingdom. They try to send for Aladdin, but he was only a wreck of what he once was. An oracle cares for him. Jafar shows up to taunt the broken hero.
The irony is delicious. It took becoming a hero for you to completely come apart. But that's what always happens to saviors, isn't it?
It's the fate of saviors.
You give and give. And give, and for what? They pick the fruit, they cut the branches. And all that's left is this shaky stump. That's why you never ever hear these words about a savior. They lived happily ever after.
The Sultan of Agrabah's capital tries to arrange a marriage for Jasmine. Jafar then shows up, kills one of the suitors and urges Jasmine to marry him, otherwise he would destroy Agrabah. Looking for someone to help defeat Jafar, now that Aladdin is out of the question, Jasmine stumbles upon Ariel. She helps her looking for Prince Eric, hoping his army could help defeat Jafar, but when they arrive at Eric's tent, it is only Jafar posing for the prince. Before he sends her back to the sea, Ariel steals some of the magic Jafar used to turn one of Jasmine's suitors into a wooden staff. By banishing the mermaid back to the sea, Jafar also removes the magic from Ariel's necklace. Heavy-hearted Jasmine gives Jafar the crown jewel of Agrabah, unknowingly enabling him to destroy the city. He traps it in the jewel. Aladdin uses the shears of destiny. He later finds a genie and uses his wishes to banish Jafar to Wonderland and to free the genie. He gifts his final wish to the genie.
My old pal's moved on.
The genie. He's gone.
He wants to return to Jasmine but is ashamed for giving up his savior's powers to save himself, so he leaves for the enchanted forest. Alice and Cyrus also return to Wonderland. There Alice meets Jefferson. Cyrus proposes to Alice at the boiling sea only to be interrupted by the Red Queen, who magically pushes Cyrus off the cliff. Unbeknownst to Alice, Jafar catches him on his flying carpet, having started an alliance with the Queen. Heartbroken about Cyrus' supposed death, Alice returns home, meets her stepmother Sarah and her stepsister Millie and reunites with her father Edwin. Edwin asks her to forget about Wonderland and especially not to bring it up in front of Millie. Sarah arranges for Alice to meet a suitor, Mr. Darcy, but she is not ready yet. That evening Alice tells Millie about Cyrus after having a nightmare about his death. Sarah and Edwin disapprove. The next day Alice is introduced to Mr. Darcy, the suitor Sarah picked for her. Edwin tells her to either get married and forget about Wonderland or to be committed to a mental hospital. Alice chooses to be committed to Bethlehem Asylum, run by Dr. Lydgate. In Wonderland, will commit several felonies against the caterpillar and owes him as well as many other people in Underland, including Nazim, money.
That is a handsome chap.
That is a wanted chap. For theft, fraud, imposturing, gambling, disturbing the peace, and public nudity.
In my defense, I was tied to a tree and stripped of my clothes, so that one wasn't really my fault.
He eventually leaves Wonderland for the Enchanted Forest. During their war with King George, Snow, David, and Red's camp gets attacked and Snow is captured by Lancelot, now working for George, having left the court of Camelot after his brief affair with the Queen. He takes her to the king, who curses her with an infertility potion and then lets her go.
Death is too good for him. First he must know pain, my pain.
Lancelot switches sides and tells Snow about George's intention to kill Ruth. David and Ruth are attacked at their cabin and Ruth is consequently shot with a poisoned arrow. In hopes of healing her, Snow, David, Lancelot, and Ruth travel to Lake Nostos. On the journey Ruth discovers that Snow is infertile. They finally arrive at Lake Nostos only to find it dried out completely after the siren's death. Lancelot finds a last drop of water and Ruth pretends to drink it. Instead she tells Lancelot to pour the healing water into Snow and David's wedding goblet. The two of them get married in front of Ruth. The magical water cures Snow and Ruth dies. After Ruth's funeral, Snow learns about Ruth's sacrifice and discovers the sex of her firstborn using Ruth's enchanted necklace.
What's your child gonna be?
A girl.
Shortly after that Lancelot leaves the enchanted forest in hopes of finding love again. He eventually ends up in Wonderland where he is seemingly killed by Cora. He survives unbeknownst to her. Eventually King George and his army are defeated.
Our army is too great. You can't win.
Well, that all depends on your definition of victory.
I offer you parley. To negotiate the terms of your surrender.
My surrender? Fair enough. My terms are quite simple. Your death.
The evil queen's blind desire for revenge leads her into a trap and blue temporarily neutralizes her magic. Snow, Charming, Granny, Red, Blue, Jiminy and the dwarves decide on executing the queen. Henry visits Regina in her cell and begs her to show remorse for her actions.
Show them regret for what you've done. The pain you've caused. Show them you can change. They will spare you, just give them a reason.
When I look back at everything I've done, I want you all to know what I feel. And that is regret. Regret that I was not able to cause more pain, inflict more misery, and bring about more death. And above all else, with every ounce of my being, I regret that I was not able to kill Snow White.
Despite the Queen's inability to show remorse, Snow stops the execution at the last moment. David confronts her about sparing her life, and Rumple offers Snow a test to see whether or not the Queen is capable of redemption. That night, Snow visits Regina in her cell and lets her go.
I know you weren't always like this, Regina. The woman who saved my life all those years ago had good in her.
That woman lost much. And now she's gone.
The Queen, however, tries to kill her, only to discover Rumple put a protection spell on Snow and David. She failed the test and is consequently banished.
Regina, you are banished. Banished to live alone with your misery.
As long as you're alive in this world, you can't hurt us.
In Oz, Zelena learns of a new witch in the realm and confronts Hilda in her gingerbread house, who is currently busy trying to fatten up a different version of Hansel and Gretel for her full moon feast. Zelena demands the other witch leave Oz and briefly knocks her out with magic. Gretel begs the wicked witch to free them, but Zelena refuses. Hilda gets back on her feet, magically drops a chandelier onto Zelena and pushes her out of her home. During their fight, Zelena's pendant is damaged. A blind woodcutter named Ivo nurses Zelena back to health and fixes her pendant. The witch develops feelings towards him, and when she realizes Hansel and Gretel are his children, she rushes to save them from Hilda. Back to her full magical strength, Zelena steals Hilda's sight and barges into her cottage to save the children, only to find them gone. After Hansel and Gretel tell Ivo about Zelena leaving them to die, she is harshly rejected by Ivo, causing her to angrily burn Hansel and destroy the witch's sight she took for Ivo.
You mess with a witch, you get burned.
Hilda, on the other hand, eventually joins Gothel's Coven of the Eight. In a different realm, the Count of Monte Cristo kills a baron responsible for murdering his fiancée and putting him in prison after years of planning his revenge. The evil queen offers him the names of the baron's accomplices if he kills Snow and David for her. The Count soon meets Snow, David, and Snow's handmaiden Charlotte and becomes their royal wine steward. The Queen then gives him venom from the Agrabah viper to kill Snow and David with. Rumple confronts Regina about letting someone else do her dirty work and reminds her of the dark curse. Regina, however, is still not interested.
I'm going to get what I want, and I'll get it without you.
Oh, are you sure about that?
If you think you can stop the Count, think again. Is that a threat? It's a fact. That protection spell you put on the Charmings, I put the same enchantment on the Count to protect him from you. Looks like the student has finally outgrown the teacher.
Edmund prepares to assassinate Snow and David, but he is unable to when Charlotte joins them, because she reminds him of his fiancée. To make sure he is never tempted to hurt them again, Rumple poisons Charlotte with Regina's poison and sends her and Edmund to the land of untold stories to stop the poison from consuming her. The Dark One then again reminds Regina that she can hurt Snow and David if she took them to another land. The dialogue in this scene, once again, is slightly misleading, as Regina doesn't seem to be aware that she was able to hurt the Charmings in another land, even though Rumple told her that he gave her the dark curse for exactly that, when she was working with the Count of Monte Cristo.
You put a spell on Snow and Charming, so I can't hurt them.
Yes.
And then I gave you the dark curse, so you could take them somewhere where you can.
No way to harm them in this land ever again.
Yes. Yes, I suppose that's true. In this land. What? The deal I made was explicit. You can never harm them in this land. Now were you to bring them to another land?
The plot hole, for sure.
Regina then leaves for Snow and David's wedding, crashes the ceremony,
Sorry I'm late.
and announces her evil plan.
I shall destroy your happiness. If it is the last thing I do.
She then teleports back home and plans to pay Maleficent a visit to reclaim the dark curse. After the Queen's terrifying threat, Snow wants to fight her, but David convinces her to not let her ruin this moment and to go on their honeymoon instead. During their wedding night, the evil Queen beats Maleficent in a duel and reclaims the dark curse.
All power comes with a price. Enacting it will take a terrible toll. It will leave an emptiness inside you. A void you will never be able to fill.
The next day, Snow and David arrive at the Summer Palace. Snow wants to sneak out to hunt down the Gorgon Medusa to use her head as a weapon against the Queen, however David catches her knowing her too well. Also knowing that she won't be able to rest until they found a solution to their Regina problem, David joins Snow on her hunt. They find Medusa's lair but quickly realize that the Gorgon is immortal and it is impossible to cut off her head. Before they can escape, Medusa turns David to stone. Regina taunts Snow through a reflective shield. This however gives Snow an idea. Using Medusa's reflection in the shield, she manages to turn the Gorgon to stone as well, lifting the petrification curse on David. Snow then decides she is not going to let Regina destroy her happiness again and starts trying for a baby with David. Returning from their honeymoon, Snow and David find their entire castle asleep, put under a sleeping spell by Maleficent. The sorceress and her associates Cruella and Ursula tell the royal couple about the dark curse and ask them to access the Tree of Wisdom's knowledge for them so they can stop it from happening, since only heroes pure of heart are able to ask the magic tree questions. On their journey to the Tree of Wisdom, a few knights block their way, not wanting to let Cruella, Ursula and Maleficent pass. Snow and David want to go around, but Maleficent kills the guards with her dragon fire. They make camp for the night, and early in the morning Snow and David head to the Tree of Wisdom without the Queens of Darkness, not trusting them. The tree however rejects them. Maleficent reveals to Snow and David that Snow is pregnant and their child has the potential for great light as well as for great darkness.
You may be heroes, but that doesn't mean your child will be.
Careful, witch.
Your child is the product of true love, which means it could grow to be a powerful hero capable of great good. But with the potential for that good, also comes something else.
What?
The potential for great darkness. Your child might turn out to be just like us.
You mean her?
A villain. Darker than any this realm has ever seen.
That night Maleficent tells Snow that she is pregnant as well and needs her help to stop the curse for the sake of her child. Snow however still refuses to help because she thinks of her as a villain.